Hey guys, this is Metallagamer here, bringing you another one of my reviews. Today's review is Bound by Flame. Came out for Xbox 360, PS3, and I believe PS4. So Bound by Flame was developed by Spiders. That's all I saw in the name. I'm not sure if it's Spiders Entertainment, Spiders Industry. Been around for a few years, not too long. They've only really established themselves in the year 2009 by porting the Sherlock Holmes games for consoles. Their one full-fledged title that I saw that was their own was Mars Warlog. It was an arcade title that came out for PSN and Xbox Live Arcade. But anyways, so let's jump into the game. Bound by Flame is a third-person action RPG. In Bound by Flame, you play as a character that you create with a very limited character creation screen that they call the Vulcan. The character you play as eventually gets, taken over, gets possessed by, comes into possession, whatever you want to explain it, of a flame demon. And with the flame demon, you are granted powers like the ability to shoot fireballs out of your hands, to engulf your weapons into flames, and send out guardians to protect you made out of fire. Bound by Flame plays like a traditional RPG at heart, but is an action RPG. So, my initial impressions weren't very good. The movement was very clunky. The controls weren't anything special. Graphically, not very impressive. Neither was the voiceover work. As a matter of fact, I find myself laughing multiple times because the game is placed in almost a middle-aged crusade type era, and I find myself laughing because, well, let's take a look here.
One of them fucking mercenaries, right?
Fucking mercenary, yeah. Sounds about right.
You know what I call your lot? Ore blades. I got no time for ores. That was a close one. This whole business stinks. If we can't tell the difference between one of these creatures and the villagers, we're totally fucked. It seemed like they were coming back from the southeast swamps. Maybe something down there is causing all this shit.
Whatever power be the origin of these possessions, it be ours.
I'll check it out.
So yeah, at this point you could see why I might find it a bit comical. The language used in it is a little bit ridiculous, and there's some dialect that goes almost Shakespearean, and then there's some that's completely retarded and sounds like it belongs in a 21st century action film. Once again, with bad dialogue. So those were my kind of initial impressions. At this point, I considered just kind of ending it here, and this was probably after about 2 to 3 hours of gameplay. I wasn't impressed by anything. Even the combat system felt kind of boring. You find yourself kind of using the same techniques, and the battles get a little bit repetitive. I pretty much found that parrying or dodging after a couple of attacks kind of left you in a safe zone. Well, like I said, those are my initial impressions. Now, my impressions at this point are quite a bit different. First, before I do that, I'm going to go into my impressions about the RPG elements of the game. The game runs like an RPG in terms of its menus, its vendors, its items, all those types of things run well as skill trees. You have 3 skill trees. You have your warrior, which is your power, basically swords and battle axes, and then you have your ranger class, which is focusing on stealth, and you have daggers that allow you to fight fairly quickly, as to where the warrior class is more focused on power. Your third skill tree is based on your pyromancy. Your flame skills and your flame demon all are in this tree, and the upgrade system is done nicely. Every time you gain a level, you gain a couple of points that you are allowed to allocate wherever needed, be it in your power class, your speed class, or your pyromancy skills. So you're allowed to kind of build your character as you like, and it doesn't feel like you're stuck building your character one way to start. Even though the playstyles of the game aren't extremely different, it allows you to choose. For the most part, I use the Ranger class. I don't use the Warrior class too much, and it's just a personal preference. And I've spent a lot of time now building up my Ranger skills and not so much building up my Warrior skills. If you keep adding points to your Ranger skill tree, then you will unlock more of your skills in your Ranger skill tree faster. It won't unlock them based on your own level, more so as based on how many points you've put into that skill tree. You also find items as you kill enemies that allow you to create traps, and they allow you to create health potions, things of that sort, things that you need in combat on a normal basis, and it allows you to do better in combat and allows you to have, disposable items that you can build more of as you kill enemies. You've got your main town that you go to about an hour and a half in the game, and that's where pretty much everything's done. There's vendors there where you can purchase items and upgrade weapons, as well as accepting quests and meeting new partners that you get to travel on your missions with. There's some of them that heal, there's some that are really good at combat, some that are far range. You get to have your different companions with you that help you out during combat. Alright, so now that I've given you a little bit more of the RPG aspect, I'm going to talk about my later on impression after I've put probably closer to 10 hours into it. So, the movement feeling clunky has kind of gone away. It does still feel a bit clunky, but I've noticed that you can kind of upgrade the speed of your attacks and the power of your attacks once you upgraded your character a little bit more. It doesn't feel like you're so level 1, as to where I think they purposely made it to where when you are lower at like level 1, you feel like you are at level 1. And as you play and progress your character, it feels like you've become a bit more powerful and that you can do more with your character. It was kind of interesting because in the beginning, I was pretty convinced I was going to quit playing, but I kept coming back. Something about it pulled me in. And I know damn well it wasn't anything like the story, because the story, I'm sorry, is not that good. It's not anything special. As a matter of fact, it's pretty generic. I started to enjoy the combat a little bit more. I enjoyed learning a little bit more about how to play, starting to use my skills better and use them in combat. It just felt nice. Like, the RPG feels like it runs nicely. Like I said, it is an action RPG, so you're not expecting anything in terms of the combat, anything that a traditional RPG brings forth to the table. That's not what this is. But after sitting down and playing it for about 15 hours, I'm finding myself enjoying the game more and more. So, gonna give you my final, I guess, just wrap up of my review of Bound by Flame. Bound by Flame gives you kind of a clunky movement system and is graphically unimpressive. The voiceovers aren't done very well, and the ones that are still sound like crap because the dialogue is cheesier than hell. If you'll give the game a little bit of time, though, you'll see that at heart, it plays like a traditional action RPG. I found that I'm glad I gave Bound by Flame a little bit more time, because I'm quite enjoying the game as it is, and I plan to completely wrap up the game. I'm going through all the side quests and unlocking all the characters, and I'm having a blast with it. So, I'm going to also say Bound by Flame isn't for everyone. It's only for a certain group of people who don't mind playing a game that has its flaws. Most gamers nowadays want their perfect game. I'm sorry, but Bound by Flame is not that game. It is not by any means perfect. It has plenty of flaws, plenty of things it can improve on. A 72 out of 100. Enjoyed it. It is by no means perfect and has a long way to go if it wants to be. But it is an enjoyable experience if you give it the time and get past its really, really corny dialogue. I almost actually look at the dialogue as a humorous aspect of the game, and it honestly makes it a lot better. Well, anyways, guys, that's all I have to say in regards to Bound by Flame. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you would like to see some Let's Plays for Bound by Flame to get a better idea on it, shoot me a like, shoot me a comment, subscribe to my channel, whatever it may be, and I'll do some Let's Plays. But as always, you know what, guys? Stay fucking metal, and I will see you next time.
If I am to die, I wish to know who stands before me.